What's happening, Hardscapers? This is episode 156 of the How to Hardscape podcast, where we talk about how you can start and grow your hardscaping business. And in today's episode, we're joined by Brian Fullerton. You may know him from Brian's Lawn Maintenance or the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast, or his new book that we'll be talking about in today's episode. But before we get into it, we want to thank our sponsor, Cycle CPA. If you need bookkeeping, accounting, CFO services, reach out to Cycle CPA, cyclecpa.com, or cycle_CPA on Instagram. Get that conversation started before the season starts and get $200 off if you mention the How to Hardscape podcast. As well as the How to Hardscape headquarters. If you're looking to streamline processes in your businesses, including budgeting, estimating, job costing, forms, and so much more, as well as our training available with the software. If you need help onboarding, training employees, whatever that might be, we do have hardscape installation courses that will help you with that. And the future's looking bright with the How to Hardscape headquarters. So if you need to sign up for something like this, March, we're going to be offering free onboarding. Afterwards, we're going to be introducing an onboarding fee. The price has gone up since we have started onboarding, but the price will continue to go up as we add more and more features to this software. So the earlier you sign up, the earlier you lock in your pricing. And without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Today, we're joined by a returning guest here. We've got Brian Fullerton. You may know him from Brian's Lawn Maintenance, as well as the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Brian, it's been a bit since we've had you back on the show, but thank you so much for taking your time to do this.
Hey, you bet, brother. Of course. Always a good time hanging with my boy, Mike Pletz. And we actually did a podcast for just last week with you. You did a banger job, so I'm hoping to reciprocate and return the favor.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you having me on your podcast and to talk a little bit about the Not Our Finest Hour podcast. So I do appreciate that there.
That's awesome. I cannot wait to get back on the mower because apparently we're not plowing snow anymore in Michigan because snow is an afterthought. It's not even a thing anymore because it hasn't snowed this whole year. But once I'm back on the mower, I can start binge listening to podcasts again, right? Like probably all you guys listening in. And I'm actually like my whistle has been wetted to listen to the Not the Finest Hour podcast. I'm hearing just great things, bro. Just a big... What's the best way to say it? The most value-added show there is out there right now.
We don't promise value, but we do promise a good time. So you can at least expect that if you listen in.
That's funny right there. That's right, bro. So how's everything going with you guys, man? How's things in Canada? You guys getting snow, wind, water, rain?
We're getting snow, and we're gonna get hit hard here on Friday. But we're a stone throw away from you, so you must be doing the same thing there.
So yeah, similarly that forecast, it's bounced back between 8 and 12 inches of snowmageddon, and a freezing rain, 2 inches of rain and ice. So I think it's just going to depend on that final track, but more than likely noon to midnight, 5 to 8 inches is probably the reality. I'm hoping it's 3 to 5. You know, like anything after 6, 7, 8 gets a little dicey. It just gets to be a pain in the butt because you're plowing snow 24 hours straight, but. We'll see where it goes, man. I'm not going to complain. We're down 50% on like our annual snowfall total. So I'm all open to having as much snow as possible come. Of course, it's going to all dump on the last 2-3 weeks of the season. And then that ruins the spring rush. Go figure, because it's going to be wet and muddy and, freezing cold. But dude, I've come to find like you got to be flexible in this industry. This is our 17th season, and you guys got to roll with the punches, brother.
That's incredible. 17 seasons. When do you usually start your mowing?
Oh, good question. In Michigan, just like in the Midwest, it can vary by a couple of weeks, but usually that third or so week of April.
Mm-hmm. And then, so 17 seasons, man, that's quite the journey. At what point during that journey, did you get like very serious with, how you were going to run your business? Like, I know when I started my business, I was a fish out of water. I was just like, yeah, we'll see how this goes. It took me a bit to like hit that point where, I need to take this serious. But did you have that kind of awakening at some point in your business there?
I 100%. It was a quadruple parallel path story. All right, ready? Like I turned 30. I had a midlife crisis at 30. I realized like I wasn't worth $10 million or have the Lambo. The wife wanted to talk about kids and a house and being a full-time mom, and full-time wife first, to be honest with you. I jumped on YouTube and I was like, hey, I feel like I need to really start re-upping my life, my business. So there's like a Brian's Lawn Maintenance 2.0, I'll call it. And then again, income wise, like I just wasn't cutting the mustard. I was making 30, 40 grand a year with my business. revenue is double of that, but at the same point, making 30, 40 grand a year is not going to be able to, again, provide the, let alone the Lambo, but the house. And my wife, was just sick and tired of eating rice and beans. So like, what a selfish individual, I always say. But so to be honest with you, that was the catalyst. It was, we were freshly married for about 2 years. We were living paycheck to paycheck. I was using her paychecks to sometimes cover payroll until I got paid. My billing was all out of whack because we didn't do like charge cards on file. And I was actually the lowball bummy dude. I was like the chuck in the truck. Like I really enjoyed the work, but I didn't know how to run a real business. And so there was never a lot of profit left over. And so there's nothing more tail between your legs, like trying to rob Peter to pay Paul, waiting for your wife's biweekly paycheck to cover payroll until you get paid from your work, if you ever got paid at all, right? So it was like, I don't know, it was chaos, brother. Like it was not fun. There was not a lot of joy. There was not a lot of excitement. There was a lot of margin. We were living in a 700 square foot apartment. Some of you guys that know my story, like we're living in like, your first starter apartment, those trap houses, and 700 square feet, dude. And like we were so excited because it was the third floor with a cathedral ceiling. We paid like $20 extra a month for that unit. And one of our favorite stories is like we were so proud of the fact that if we plugged in the vacuum in the middle hallway, we could vacuum from the bedroom corner all the way to the living room corner. Like we're talking very teeny tiny house, very teeny tiny apartment, right? And so in each way, all of that was like the catalyst to like stop messing around with this thing, dude. And the last 5 or 6 years, with a combination of a lot of people's help on the internet and the lawn care community, guys like yourself that are putting out content, some great people that I've met in real life, my friend Mike Bedell, all these things kind of came together, man. And we were just right place, right time, and just trying to grow our life. In the last 5, 6 years, it has been a struggle. It's been a grind to get things righted, more right. Definitely not a finished product. We're learning things every single day, but it's been a 5 or 6 year journey, man. And you can probably see the bags under my eyes. Like it's been earned. The newer equipment, the better income, being able to take care of my wife, and just get our life going, dude. Just like so many of you guys out there, we're all in the same boat together. But really, it was stop being a loser for my wife and start building a company that I could be proud of.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I wanted to touch on a little bit more on, because this is on top of my mind right now. Your YouTube channel and how that directly relates to your business. I'm curious, do you get quite a few leads coming through YouTube, like whether or not they are, in your immediate area or even within your route? Do you find that leads are actually flowing through your YouTube channel to your business?
It's a good question. I've gotten that one once or twice, and actually the answer is yes, in a weird way. Like, break this down again. I'm a big like psychoanalyze guy, right? But number one, I get leads from all across the country because people watch the YouTube video, then they go to our website and our submission form, and I get people literally once a week. Hey, I got a property in Georgia. I got a property in Utah. I got a property in Montana. Can you do mulch? And I'm like, where are you getting this from? Like, we're in Michigan, bro. And I have to reply to those submission forms on the website. I just got one the other day. The guy's in Georgia, and I'm like, I don't know how people connect. On the website it says like Michigan and Wixom and Novi, like my route. So we do get like weird one-off leads like that once or twice a week. Then we do get commercial leads all the time locally. None of them say like, hey, we watch your videos and we'd like to have you on our property. It's not like that. But we do get quite a few leads from the website. We have a new website we put out just a couple months ago. But then we have had a couple residential accounts, twofold. One that find us because of YouTube, and they do want to hire us. And it's like, of course, 1 in a million that they like live in our 2-3 mile route. I remember having a conversation with somebody. I'm like, hey, where'd you find us? They go, well, we watch your YouTube videos. I go, like, what do you think about them? Like, where are we at? Because it's always weird. And they're like, no, like, we love everything you're doing. And like, we love you and Rob, and you guys are amazing. And I'm like, okay, well, here's the 1 in a million chance. What's your address? Where are you at? And they're in this one of the 7 or 8 subdivisions we do work in. And it totally lucked out, totally played out. And they were actually a client for a year or two. Their kid got a little bit older, their son, and now he mows the lawn, of course. And but it worked out. And then other times, here's a different funny story, Mike, is the ones that like make me kind of more scared or petrified are like when I have a lawn customer text me, or like I see them out and about and they go, oh man, great video last week. And I'm like, what? And like, yeah, dude, like we watch your YouTube channel. And I'm like, oh, really? And like last week's video was like me complaining about some customer that I hate, you know?
That's
Oh, dude, like
awesome.
you can't make this stuff up. Or like I did like a $1,200, mulch job, 10, 12 yard mulch job. We break down the pricing that we have and our formulas and how to do it. And like, yeah, we did it for, 1175. We got, 9 years of mulch and here's some bed prep. We got, 350 in labor, little this, little that. We netted 450 on a 6 hour day. I don't know, whatever. And then like customers call me and like, hey, like saw your mulch job video. Can you do ours? And I'm like, well, like, we're making money, right? And so it's funny, like giving away the playbook, you know what I mean? So, but what I've come to find out, like people love it. Like our customers love the videos. They love watching. I've got this one guy, Dimitri. He's got some kids that are about 8 or 10. We buy lemonade from their lemonade stand, and they're in a nice subdivision. And he's like, dude, he's like, I got to get on the video, man, and tell everybody how awesome you do. I go, whoa, 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 like. I don't need that kind of endorsement, but he loves the videos, man. He'll probably watch this. He's always watching our stuff. And I'm like, why, dude? Like, why? Like, it makes me feel awkward. It's already awkward when, like, I don't know if you guys can relate to this. It's always awkward when, like, the customer's looking out the window at you. You're like, dude, go do something, right? Because that's when I feel like I'm going to mess up, go figure.
Yeah.
Or like they, like, see me, of course, run over the Gatorade bottle, like, that one time, But it's even more awkward when they watch your YouTube videos and like next week they're like, yeah, like you should have totally fired that customer. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, it's like them or somebody, like, so no, we're just having fun. But anyway, yeah, I don't know if that answers your question about rabbit hole.
It does. It does. I asked because since I started in a very small YouTube channel, I like for a small YouTube channel, it's amazed me the amount of leads I've gotten and how they're actually in my area. So
Yeah.
It's made me think a lot about this, and I'm curious on your thoughts on this. Like, I think this is going to be very big for companies in the near future. I think, there's a lot of older folks that unfortunately will pass away, and they have accumulated this wealth because they've been told to for so many years, and that wealth will go down to their kids, and their kids are watching YouTube videos and watching people, and they find the person that they want to do work on their property for through these new channels. Social media is the same thing, and all this. Do you feel the same way? Do you think that YouTube is going to be huge for these companies, if they want to be long-term companies in that?
Man, I will tell you, that's such a good question. It's an interesting question. And I've got a perfect case study for you. Myself hiring contractors for our upcoming home that we're going to be building. And so I'm, as you guys would imagine, just like somebody would put us through the coals, rake us through the coals about figuring out who's the right contractor for a patio or for lawn maintenance. I'm doing the same thing, trying to hire out contractors outside of anything my GC's doing. For fencing, for pools, for landscaping, for pole barns. And so just like we're consumers of content on YouTube, you guys got to realize like, so are your customers, right? And I was watching a fence company down the road from me, and they do all these like YouTube videos about proper fence installation techniques and what makes them different, and like buying guides. Like here's the pros and cons of aluminum, pros and cons of wood, pros and cons of vinyl. Then it's like, let's say the guy's like, Mitchell. It's like Mondays with Mitchell's quick tip, Tuesday, 2-minute Tuesday, right? Like that kind of stuff. And dude, they have a whole library of videos. They have like 100. Now, they're not doing what you and I are doing, creating content, right? They're not like doing that, but they have 100 videos on their YouTube channel about all their fence projects. And like they're showing a fence installation about how they're doing on a site. And then right next to them is another neighbor who has the similar fence, but done by a different company. Mm-hmm. And they're showing how the fence is all wavy and shit, and it's all like bowed and it's all like coming out of the ground. I know nothing about fencing, but it looks awful. And he's like, well, this is why. And he's like going to the neighbor's fence, the competitor's fence, obviously, and showing the installation technique. He goes, this is from the 80s. This is awful. And then here's why we do it different. And like, it's such a fascinating thing. It's educating me on a customer. So when I call up, I don't want to give the company's name, but if I call up, John's Fencing and I say, hey, I want to go with you. I need a vinyl 2.4 this with a 6 that. I want this tie, 48 inch. I don't want the spokes. I want this. I got 1,200 linear feet, whatever. Like I'm an educated consumer that just both starts us off at like this high level of a conversation. Like it saves time and energy. And my confidence going in with that contractor, like I've already decided who my fence guy is.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wouldn't even pick anybody else based on the reviews I've read, and then this company specifically, the YouTube content they've created, just as a resource. It's not like a sell. It's not like, hey, go with us because we're better. It's here's our work, here's the competitors' work, here's some things to think about, and like they've just sewed into me, right? Like I've literally at 10 o'clock at night watched 50 of their videos, over the last, I don't know, 3 months. And it prompted me to go to their website, use their submission form, and we're going back and forth as we speak for a fence quote. Like, I think that's such an still you'd be surprised in 2023 how contractors are underutilizing social media. And I think it's just it's whether that gets me personal clients or customers, it's kind of hard because we're a mo business, so our route density is very, very small. But if you're a hardscaper landscaper and you're having I don't know, 30 miles or 30-minute radius, I think, oh my gosh, you should be doing this kind of stuff to just add a video a week. Like it doesn't have to be anything special, something on your iPhone, do something vertical for IG, horizontal for YouTube, and just build up this library. 2-minute Tuesdays, before and afters, all this stuff. Like it's, I don't know if that answers your question again, but I think it's a no-brainer, and I think people are still mailing it in, to be honest with you.
I just want to take a break from today's episode to talk about our sponsor, Cycle CPA. You may have a CRM or project management software in place, but what data are you using to ensure your estimating is accurate? Having a proper accounting setup and accurate bookkeeping done is key to understanding overhead expenses and other costs that must be recouped in your estimates. Cycle CPA is a remote bookkeeping and CFO firm that helps to connect the dots from the financial reports to the hardscape and landscape data needed in order to reach high profits. They provide landscape and hardscape industry benchmarking, job costing, financials by service line, advisory meetings, and much more. Cycle CPA's team of accountants are specialized within the hardscape and landscape industry, and you can visit them at cyclecpa.com, and for $200 off, mention the How to Hardscape podcast. Now back to our episode. Yeah, I agree. And with that being said, with your YouTube channel, like, what kind of market are you trying to target? Or are you trying to go after, the client side, maybe for like the future when you want more leads to flow in, or, focusing on more like the lawn care companies, a mixture of both? Because like personally, I'm trying to do a mixture of both with mine. And I don't know if that, is makes quite sense. I'm just trying to like hedge my bets. And it's pretty obvious which ones are for the homeowners and which ones are for contractors. But that's at least the route that I'm taking. I'm curious as to what you kind of plan on doing with yours or continue to do.
100%. I've thought this through at length, and here's always my suggestion to folks out there that are coming to this fork in the road. Like, my content is contractor to contractor. Mm-hmm. Right? Like we're not trying to be an influencer, but people would call us an influencer, or they would call us like business to business content, right? Like my YouTube channel, my Instagram, and my podcast, they're for other guys like you, myself, right? We're trying to grow the industry. That's specifically what my content is for. It's not for the customer. It's not a value add to the end user customer as much as I'm talking to contractors about how to start and grow a more successful lawn and landscaping business, right? So the number one thing you got to start with your social media, in my opinion, is who is your content for? And all too often, I feel people are like, 1 minute, they're making a value add post, like a 2-minute Tuesday tip, whatever, pick your genre. And then their next post is they're complaining about cheap customers. And so if you're a customer watching this, right, appreciate the 2-minute value add Tuesday, but then on Wednesday, you're bitching about cheap customers, which we all like, breaking bread and talking shop. And after a conference or, people are drinking a beer, hanging out, we're like, man, customers, like we love customers, but we hate customers, like we're just people. Every industry is like that, by the way. Real estate, like, oh, I love selling people homes, but man, people are annoying. Like, but you can't put that on your social media content if you have a B2C account, like a business to consumer. Right now, if I put out a rant and I say, man, like, cheap customers stink. They're, guys, don't give away what we do and keep your prices fair or high. Like that resonates to guys like me and you, and that'll get 1,000 likes or whatever, right? Whatever. But if you're mixing the two, right? Imagine the customer that stumbles upon that video and goes, man, I like this guy, but he thinks every customer is a cheap jerk, person. Like that's not kosher, right? So my suggestion is differentiate the two,
Hmm.
right? Like, and by the way, you can have an Instagram that's highlighting your work and for customers. You
Hmm.
could have a Facebook that's highlighting towards customers, targeted towards customers, and you could have a YouTube channel that's all B2B, like business to business owner, right? But just know like what your medium is for. Don't conflate the two. Don't intermingle, because I guess like the good old, like, if you chase two rabbits, you're gonna get neither. Like, don't mix your messaging. And I see a lot of people, like, another quick example to something that bugs the snot out of me is like, it's the helpful value add, or hey, we got some new mowers, or hey, now taking on new clients, and then the next post is taking my kid fishing. Well, like, what's wrong with taking your kid fishing? Nothing, except it has nothing to do with your account. That's Johnson's Landscapes. Like, why are you putting a photo of your kid fishing with you, like enjoying some family time? Like, dude, that doesn't have a time or place. That's for your personal Instagram account, right? So I don't know if that helps anybody out there. It seems to be kind of common sense, kind of no brainer, but you would be shocked still at like how people kind of commingle
Hmm.
their social media, right? So I don't think there's any right or wrong answer with building business to consumer or business to business. It's just make sure you are very dialed in about, like, we say this all the time with your marketing, like, who are you trying to reach? Who's your target customer? Who's your target avatar? Right? Like, lock that down before you just start listening to Gary Vee and ramping up 50 pieces of content a day. Okay. That's my broad suggestion. I hope that saves somebody some heartache, because your customers are lurking, man. They're watching. So just be careful where they go to.
And with that being said, when you're filming on a certain property, do you in like your contracts try to get consent to be filming on their property? Is that built into like what you got there and everything?
Yes.
Yeah.
All of our commercial contracts, we have a social media release. And then also when we sign up a new residential customer, we don't do residential contracts. Whole nother story. We do a charge card on file. We're like an at-will lawn service, right? Like, for as many mows as we mow, we charge the card on file at the end of the month. It's a pay-as-you-go lawn service. But in our credit card sign-up release form that we email the customer, there's a social media waiver there. You have
Gotcha.
to. You have to. Now, I'm also very cognizant when we film videos. We're not doing anything typically in the backyards anyway. Maybe some mow time lapses. But at the end of the day, especially in today's climate, it's a very CYA world. Make sure you're getting releases or permissions in writing that you can film on people's properties. Typically, by the way, anything curbside, roadside, or sidewalk side that's like public use.
Hmm.
That's why Google can drive around their vans. But the backyard, personal property, or anything facing the home, obviously you want to give those people privacy in the time of day. I wouldn't want somebody filming videos on my property if I didn't know what the hell's going on. So if you're like, hey, I got a little YouTube channel, we're filming, we're building training videos, we're documenting our stuff, sharing some stuff on social media, nobody cares. Just fill them in on the loop. I 6 years in, I'm literally trying to think right now out loud of any glaring examples of people freaking out that we had a camera or a GoPro. Nothing. Just
Hmm.
just let people know. Don't get their kids or their dog or their
Yeah.
address. But at the end of the day, like, just be smart.
Yeah. And then you've mentioned in the past a few times I've heard this past year, maybe these past couple of years, you haven't really focused on growing the revenue. You've been focusing on really narrowing down on that profit percentage, right? But growing that way to be more and more profitable. What does that mean? What does that look like in you, and how do you go about, uh becoming more profitable and growing in that sense as opposed to growing in a revenue sense?
What does that even mean? It gets the people going. So, well, I'll be honest with you. Just a fact check. Our business top line revenue grew 6 digits last year.
Right.
So, I'm actually really proud of that. Revenue is up, profit is up too. And so I tell people all the time, like, we didn't just grow 10% on raising rates to grow 10% in new revenue. Those numbers wouldn't add up. So we're up 6 digits here. We're up significantly. Well, we're up marginally on our profit margin, but we still have a solid profit margin. So last year we ran 24.7% on 295. We could have did a little over 3. I was sandbagging a couple things with our accounting style. But that revenue is up 100 over the prior year. So I'm really, really excited about that. So I'm not sure if that answered your question, but I think people should. Corey Ballard, somebody that I love listening to. The guy's a wizard. Low key, like, he's a very, very smart dude. He's publicly a smart dude, like, you know what I'm saying? But he's a great listener. He's cerebral behind the scenes. And you can tell he's surrounded himself with great people, smarter than him type people, just like myself. That's one of the key tenets of building a successful business, is building a successful team, right? And one of Corey's lines, I say all that just to say, one of Corey's lines that I got from him, he said it at a conference once, was top line is vanity, bottom line is sanity. And so I feel a lot of people spend a lot of time, a lot of hot air saying how much the business did, how much they grew, whatever, pick your number, pick your topic. But the reality is, like, how much did you keep? Like, it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. And so, it's one of those conundrums. Like, if you did $1 million at 10% or $500,000 at 20%, right? But so many people get lost in that top line revenue number. It's a measuring contest, right? So it's like, that's fine. And I really don't subscribe to any of the like grow to grow, or one guy's better because he did 1.5 and this guy did 600,000. Well, the 600,000 guy might have took home 175 grand with 4 dudes, and the other guy did 30,000 profit with a $30,000 owner salary, right? Like, hopefully I can say that we can all still be friends, So at the end of the day, it's who's making money. And again, we're talking success in finance, like specifically. If we're talking business, then yes, like, making more money is a higher win on the goal card, on the scorecard, right? Now, finances, if you're making $1 million a year and you get divorced or have a heart attack along the way, like, that's not success in my book, like, broadly speaking, for the whole package. But if we're going to measure success in terms of finances and profit and happiness, like, for your business, then don't chase vanity metrics, right? And so that's something that part of that last 6-7 year journey was dialing in, like, what does a real company look like? What does real profit look like? What are we really trying to accomplish here? And I've really tried to be a student, a protege of so many people that have successful companies and learn what they're doing. And I'll tell you, man, like, Mike, that Paper King, he's got some great lines out there, like, more money's made with a pen than like with a paver, or whatever, and all these different motivational quips. And dude, it's the truth. Like, you have to run it like a real business. And I think so many of us get stuck in, again, I hope I can say stuff and not offend people, but I don't care. Like, it's just the truth. Like, you have to run it like a real business. And I think so many people get stuck at being a good technician.
Mm-hmm.
We love laying pavers and designing and mowing and fertilizing. But, like, dude, at the end of the day, it's all for naught if you're not going to run it like a real business. You might as well just go work for the big guys, get a 60 grand salary, a company truck, a company cell phone, and a 401k. Right? If you're just going to be out here making $25,000 profit with your company, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Don't burn me at the stake for saying all that out loud, but that's the truth.
Hey, do you have a budget set for 2023? Are you starting the estimating process with a budget in place to ensure that you are recovering your overhead expenses, labor, material costs, profit, and other hidden expenses within your business? Do you know that you're making profit on certain projects throughout the year? If you're struggling with any of these things, then the How to Hardscape headquarters can help you this year. Check it out at members.howtohardscape.com or shoot me a message at howtohardscape on Instagram. This software will streamline processes in your business. It's going to help you budget, estimate, ensure that you are making profit on projects throughout the year, and help you adjust throughout the year. We're also going to be continuously improving this software to include more and more features, as well as the content that's already available to members right now if you're looking to train your employees as they come in. So once again, members.howtohardscape.com. The price will continuously go up as more features and as more content is offered over there. So there's never a bad time to get signed up with that. And with that being said, let's get back to the episode. Yeah, and I wasn't trying to, put words in your mouth at the beginning there. I was just, I noticed you speaking more about profits and trying to increase those profits because at the end of the day, whatever we may be going through in the near future here, profit's going to be very, very important. And with that being said, Brian, you have actually very recently released a new resource for your audience, a new book. Brian, tell us a little bit about the book. What's the title? What can we find in it? Give us the spiel here.
How about this for a product placement, right? Holy cow. My camera's doing like the whole blurred out background thing. So this is not working like I thought it would. It's totally blurring my face out, but see, it's already trying to censor me, right? I did a live stream last night, so I was plugging the book. I was really excited about that. We sold like 40 copies yesterday. Thank God, man. Yeah, we have a new lawn care book out. It's how to start a lawn care business. It's called 0 to 100K. What I've noticed for a lot of people, that first benchmark in revenue is like hitting 100K mark. Now, if you're doing hardscaping, you probably spend that on brick pavers alone. Okay, so work with me here. I know a little bit different audience, but for the mow guys and the guys just getting started with fertilizing, of course, 200, 300, 400 grand is a good sweet spot. But I've noticed that most guys that are looking to change careers or start their own business, they want to get that first 100K in revenue because that can net 30, 40, 50,000, replace an income, get them out of corporate America. So I'm really excited about it. It's I got about 100 hours into this book. It's a labor of love. I've been stitching it together after about 11 p.m. every night for the last 6 months because that's the only time I get. I got a beautiful wife, lawn care business, social media business, new 18-month-old baby, another baby on the way, building a home, building a barn, one or two things in the irons in the fire, right? So very, very busy. But after 11 o'clock at night, legit been trying to write this book, get it out for the last 6 months, and it's finally here. I think it's now, I'm humbled to say this because this would like make my English teacher roll in her grave probably, but it's an Amazon #1 bestseller. And I can't be more thankful, more excited for the reception, man. So thanks for giving me the quick moment to plug that. That was unexpected, but dude, I'm so thankful. And I think it would really behoove anybody to read that book. I don't care if you've been in business for 5 or 6 years. There's a lot of solid nuggets in there. And it's a parallel path story, by the way, about my story about how I got started in business. And then also like the X's and O's about what you need to do to start a company, obviously. So it's like a story form book. Have you ever read the book, by the way, Mike, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, like those kind of books? Yeah. Dude, did you like go through that book in like a day or two? Like it was an easy read?
Yeah, I mean audio, but because I can't read, but
well, so in all honesty, like I read Rich Dad Poor Dad in like 3 hours. It was because it was a story form book. It was like this parallel path story, right, with two dads. And so I wanted to like kind of mimic some of that, was like my story and then what we should be doing. And it's a very easy read. I think it's like 98 pages or something like that. Most people are reading it in 2 hours, but I've had a ton of great feedback, ton of great testimonies. I'm trying to capture them and like share them, because again, who am I? But like people are like, dude, this is awesome. This is great. I wish I had this stuff. And it might be like kind of no brainer, kind of common sense type stuff. But man, I'll tell you what, like it is a really, really helpful resource out there. I don't think it's a silver bullet, but dude, it's $20. You can check out the book, read it in a day. The audiobook will be coming here by the end of the month. So I'm not sure when this podcast drops, but super excited about that. It'll be out by, mid to late March. And if you guys are installing a patio or, mowing some grass or cleaning out some pools, you guys want to, throw something motivational, encouraging, and little X's and O's in your ear, man, I would be so appreciative for the support. You can get it at Amazon. It's $20 and it'll be on Audible, like I said, by the end of the month, man. So it's wild, dude. It's wild. I've never would have thought I'd see my ugly mug on this book, It's crazy.
I mean, the amount of effort that must have gone into that, I commend you for that. Writing a book can't be an easy thing to take on, especially if everything that you got going on there. Audiobook, really quickly, are you going to be narrating that?
Yes, that's why the delay in the audiobook, because like you said about reading, I have the out loud reading capacity of like a third grader. And that might be putting the third grader down because I am not a good reader. Like I think in my head I'm good. But when I read out loud, it's awful. It's brutal. Like I did the dedication just as a test chapter for our producer our audio engineer. And he goes, good job. He goes, maybe drink some more water, maybe like run, a little bit to like get that second win. Cause like I'm gasping for air and dude, I'm like stuttering over words like and so anyway, and so it is funny. It's kind of comical. I'm being a little facetious here, but it is, I'm a little bit more like nervous or anxious about putting the audiobook together. So anyway, I just got to muscle up and do it and just kind of plow through. I'm sure there'll be a crap ton of edits, but it's not my problem. But it'll be an audiobook here by the end of the month, but I've been kind of dragging my feet, low key, like, dude, reading a book or listening to an audiobook or like reading a blog, like that's one thing. But, when's the last time you did like popcorn reading, back in like middle school, high school? Like, I haven't had to like read out loud and I'm like Boy, I sound like an idiot, dude. So
Well, Brian, I think going like the story route, the way you wrote it is it's such a great way. Like I take away more things from stories. Somebody telling me a story with those, nuggets baked in, as opposed to just giving me a list of those nuggets and going through those. So, like same thing, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, those kind of topics have been touched on in books before that, but that one really resonated because that story way. Brian, thank you so much for your time here. Where can our audience go learn more about you? Check out your book, check out your YouTube channel, your podcast, anywhere you want to send them to.
Oh, dude, for real. First off, thank you so much. I can't thank you enough for having me on the show, dude. Like we're buds, man. We talk all the time. So hopefully this was a value add, like not the Finest Hour podcast. And so long story short, dude, if you guys want to go down the rabbit hole, all things lawn care, landscaping, and Brian's Lawn Maintenance, we're on IG, Brian's Lawn Maintenance, YouTube, Brian's Lawn Maintenance. The podcast is Fullerton Unfiltered. I actually pride myself on the podcast, top 200 for 3 years straight of all entrepreneurship podcasts, 2.1 million downloads. Dude, it's a good podcast. Like not good just because of what I'm saying. And I say that humbly, but I'm telling you, like the guests that we have on, we've had Mike, we've had Mike from Paver King. We've had hundreds and hundreds of you guys on, and you guys sharing your best tips and nuggets and info and your story as well, man. So it's a labor of love for the community. I think we're almost at 500 episodes. Cannot thank you guys enough for the support of that. Monday, Wednesday, Friday podcasts. And then what else? Oh, last thing is we have a training website, lawnpreneuracademy.com. We teach people how to grow a lawn care business. So you can get, of course, everybody's got the hustle, man, but we got the contracts, the courses, the programs. I'll tell you, we had 10,000 students, I think, last year. So we're doing something right in terms of making an impact out there. I 100% guarantee everything we got. We've never had a refund on the snow contracts. I've had like 2 or 3 only on the commercial contracts, but those are our number one selling resources. So if you don't like it, or if it's not for you, dude, you shoot me an email, a DM, 100% money back guarantee. It's not a cash grab. I'm telling you guys sincerely, we're changing the game. My goal, my mission, Mike, is to elevate the lawn and landscaping industry. Because I was that dude. I was that Chuck in the truck guy just 7 years ago. And here's a word that I sometimes throw around on my podcast, like the word metamorphosis. Like caterpillar goes in, butterfly comes out, nothing the same. Like it's not even fair, man. Like who I am and what I say and how I talk and what I do now in my businesses and my life and my wife and my marriage and my happiness. Like, bro, it's not even the same person 6, 7 years ago, just 6 or 7 years ago. And so if you guys are out there, man, you're struggling, you're figuring it out, you're trying to put puzzle pieces together, dude, sometimes you're hopeless, you're desperate. Like I have been so broke. Broke would have been a goal. Like we were so broke because we were so in debt. I've been 6 figures in debt trying to figure this stuff out, man. And so in which way, like that's my MO, that's my mission, is to help you guys out there in the Brian's Lawn Maintenance of 10, 15 years ago. So if you guys are just getting to know me, man, thanks for giving me some latitude and some grace maybe on the show, but I'm telling you, we're here to help you guys out. I know it sounds kind of hokey pokey, but if we can help you grow, man, just shoot me a message. I'm always here for you guys. But Mike, dude, thank you so much for letting me be on the show. Always a pleasure. I can't wait to catch up with you soon. I can't wait to catch up with you at a Quip Expo, or if you come on down to LAL, not that the Gestapo has opened the border. Like, let's do it, man. I can't wait to have you guys come on down.
I am actually hoping to be there this year for LAL. So
heck yeah.
And hopefully the Not Our Finest Hour guys will come too. So
we'll get you set up in a booth, man. Amen.
Amazing. Brian, thank you so much for your time.
You bet, brother.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast episode. Go support Brian over there, whether it's on his podcast, on his YouTube channel, or purchasing a book. Even if you purchase a few, give them away. It's always great to support those in our community, and I would really appreciate that as well. Once again, thank you to our sponsor, Cycle CPA. If you need bookkeeping, accounting, CFO services, reach out to Cycle CPA, cyclecpa.com, or cycle_CPA on Instagram. Let them know How to Hardscape sent you for $200 off their services there. And hey, if I could urge you to do something for me, for listening to the podcast, if you enjoy the podcast at all, I have noticed on our Apple Podcast reviews, we've dropped from 4.9 stars on average down to 4.8. So if you could help me get that up, if you're willing to leave a 5-star rating and a written review, that would be amazing. I would really, really appreciate that if you enjoy these episodes. And we look forward to meeting with you next week on the How to Hardscape podcast.